No one had phones in their pockets, just those little plastic cameras. You'd snap a few photos and hope for the best, then wait days to get them developed. The fun was in the surprise.
What? You guys would wait days for a photo? Guys, I don't know about this title. This is growing up in the 1990s. We were the last to really live. Like, what is that? What do you mean by that? Like, are you just trying to say because that's like before the internet really kicked in and people like got to experience what life was like, kind of, at least at this point, without everybody being on their phones chronically like they are now? Like, is that what you mean? Because I was born in the 2000s, so I'm really curious to see what's going to be said in this video. Look, guys, you guys know I love to go back and past, got very curious, man. If you love what I'm doing, then don't forget to subscribe channel. Of course, road to 60K. We just passed 53K, so thank you guys for the support. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And don't forget to like the video before we head on in. But yeah, guys, we're going to check this one out. My 90s kids, rise up. Get in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And if you weren't born in the 90s, let me know if you can relate or some of the things that you guys prefer from your time growing up. I'd love to know, guys. But look, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
If you grew up in the 1990s, you remember a time before everything went digital. Listening to music on CD players, hoping the disc wouldn't skip. Sitting on the internet and praying no one picked up the phone in the middle of a download. And of course, Friday night trips to the...
Isn't that whole, what he just mentioned about praying nobody called on the phone when in the middle of a download, isn't that because you guys had to use like telephone, your landline, your telephone service, whatever you had to use for the internet, that if someone called you, it cut it out? Like, I never got to experience that, thank God. I'd be rage quitting every day, but yeah, I definitely missed all of that.
Music on CD players, hoping the disc wouldn't skip. Sitting on the internet and praying no one picked up the phone in the middle of a download. And of course, Friday night trips to the video store weren't just routine, they were part of how we lived. This is growing up in the 1990s. We were the last to really live.
Bro, what do you mean? What do you mean by that, bro?
In the early 90s, CD
players... I know what he means, yeah. Like, that's the only thing that I kind of wish I got to experience life before the internet, like, or before everything really got integrated. Like, because when I grew up and I started to, have my early years into this world, like, I already had BlackBerry. My first one was a BlackBerry. My first console was a PlayStation 2. And the first, like, that's the world I grew up in. So, but prior to that, yeah, man, it's a mystery. I didn't even know. I'm just learning. This is history for me, man.
Started replacing cassette Walkmans, and it felt like a big upgrade. No more rewinding tapes or flipping sides. Just pop in a disc and skip straight to your favorite track. The sound was clearer, more polished, especially compared to worn-out cassettes. But they weren't perfect.
Ideal proving ground for the Sony Discman with ESP. We developed ESP technology.
Most of us remember walking around trying not to jostle the thing, because even with anti-skip tech, a small bump could make the music jump ahead mid-song. People carried them flat in one hand like a tray, just to keep things steady.
Really?
Still, it was worth it. CDs felt like the future, even if you had to babysit the player.
What?
There was some...
Wait, so you babysit the player? That's a good joke. So you're telling me you had to like hold the Sony Walkman CD like this whilst you're like walking along? Like, that looked kind of sus. I don't know why I have my hand out like that. Sorry, no screenshots. Don't clip that. Don't clip that, please. I don't know what. Let's just get back into the video, man. But that's I didn't know that, man. That's interesting. That's different. That's extra. That's effort.
CDs felt like the future, even if you had to babysit the player. There was something about making mixtapes that was just magic. The task of hitting record at the right moment, trying to avoid the DJ talking over the song, and hoping you didn't end up with an awkward fade out at the end. It was an art form. We made them for ourselves, for our crushes, or just to share with friends. The mix of songs on a single tape told a story. And then, as CDs took over, we switched to burning our mixes onto discs. Too bad kids today will never really know the thrill of exchanging a mixtape with a friend, or the rush of hearing that perfect song when you hit play. And don't say you never made a mixtape back in the day.
Yeah, I'll never get to experience that. I've never experienced it. I kind of wish I did. It sounds kind of cool. I could see how that would be like something that's nostalgic. I can see how you can make a lot of memories in that. I mean, when you're putting your effort into something and you're seeing the output, like the reward you're gonna get, how that's gonna integrate into your psyche and all of that, like the memories that will come from stuff like that, like that's kind of nice. And I feel like, yeah, I definitely missed that boat. The first time I started really listening to songs, I already had like apps, so I could just listen to it on like Spotify and stuff. So literally, man, wow, like you guys are old. You guys are old, man.
Perfect song when you hit play. And don't say you never made a mixtape back in the day. Friday nights used to mean grabbing a worn-out VHS tape, sliding it into the VCR, and hitting play. Whether it was a movie you owned or one you rented from the corner video store, there was something special about watching it on your own TV. The picture was grainy, the tracking sometimes needed adjusting, but that was part of the charm. And remember those insert sheets that came with new blank tapes? We had dozens of them, always nearby, just in case. The soft whir as the tape loaded, that satisfying click, it meant you were in for a good time, right there in your living room.
Okay, and we can play it on my brother's computer.
Can't relate, man.
No problem.
You guys let me know if you're related. If this is bringing back memories.
Before flash drives or cloud storage, we had floppy disks. And I mean floppy. If you're old enough, you might remember the big 8-inch ones, or those 5 1/4-inch discs that actually bent when you held them. But most of us used the 3.5-inch kind, the hard plastic ones with that little metal slider. I used to pull it back with my finger just to hear it snap shut. And when your computer started reading it, that clicking and whirring sound meant your files were, hopefully, loading. It wasn't high capacity, but back then, it felt like the future. There was a time when Friday nights meant heading to the video...
Like that looked, what was that, a floppy disk to hard, like, what? Yo, that just looks clunky, annoying. I don't even, like, I would just get... I mean, of course, this is probably revolutionary at this time, but I've never experienced that. I literally didn't. Wow.
It meant your files were, hopefully, loading. It wasn't high capacity, but back then, it felt like the future. There was a time when Friday nights meant heading to the video rental store, whether it was Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, or Suncoast. You'd grab your membership card, ready to pick out your weekend movie haul. New releases were a big deal, and you'd always hope the latest blockbuster was still available, because they were in high demand, and if you weren't fast enough, you'd end up with something else. The shelves were lined with VHS tapes, and the excitement of picking out the perfect one, then racing home to watch it, was its own kind of magic. No streaming, no instant access, just the thrill of picking a movie off the shelf. Remember that unforgettable sound when you connected to the internet? That screeching, buzzing noise that seemed to go on forever?
That's where that sound comes from.
You knew you were about to dive into something new, but it always felt like an adventure or a test of patience. If someone in the house picked up the phone while you were online, it was like losing all progress, especially if you were downloading a file, and everything would reset from the beginning. It wasn't uncommon to hear your mom yelling, "Don't pick up the phone, I'm waiting for an important call."
Day Off.
And don't forget,
I know what that little B-roll clip was from. I've seen that movie.
Hear your mom yelling, "Don't pick up the phone, I'm waiting for an important call." And don't forget that heart-pounding moment when the screen finally loaded and that iconic, "You've got mail," popped up. A simple message, but it felt like you had won the internet lottery back then.
No, do you know what? So far, I'm starting to notice like the theme of a lot of these things are like a nostalgic throwback, which I can't relate to a single one. Shout out to you guys that are feeling it right now, because it generally is like this is I didn't know about this stuff, but it looks cool. But it's like I feel like the general theme is like you had to wait a lot longer and it took more effort to get a certain result, and I don't know what it is about that. But I feel like there's like a beauty in the struggle. I feel like nowadays, like he's kind of alluding to here, like a lot of these. A lot of these, a lot of these things are just like instant. Like, you know, if I wanna play a song, I can just go, you know, on the internet, like sort of Spotify or whatever. Like, I can just quickly listen to it. Like, it's so instant gratification to the point where attention spans decrease, and you don't like you get bored of things quickly. You don't appreciate things as much because you can just go and get it so easily. Whereas back then, you actually had to like try and really put in effort, and and like I said, I feel like there's a beauty in that I'm just not gonna be able to experience. I would like to, if we could go back in time, I want there to be like some sort of reshuffling of stuff where like wipe out and we go back to like what life was like before the internet for a little bit and then come back. Gosh, I just want to experience it, man.
Were one of those things that defined the 90s.
I want to know what it's like.
Look, I got some cool pogs.
I feel like I would like it.
Pogs. Remember Al?
You know,
They were everywhere.
like I'm a little bit of an old soul in that sense. Like take me, like I would love if I could choose what year to be born in. I would pick the 1980. I pick 1980 to be born in. Actually, no. Yeah, I'd want to be born in the 80s, and then grow through the 80s into the 90s. If I was born in the 2000s, man.
At school, in kids' pockets, and on the playground. The game itself was simple, but the fun was endless. You'd gather with friends, each with their own stack of pogs, ready to battle it out. The goal? Knock the other person's pogs out of the stack using your own. But it wasn't just about the game. It was about the excitement of collecting them, trading them with friends, and showing off your best ones. Every pog was a little piece of nostalgia, and that feeling of victory when you won a trade or knocked out a rare one was unbeatable.
I can imagine.
Saturday mornings in the 90s were a magical time. The TV was our window to a world of adventure, and it all started with a bowl of cereal in hand. New episodes of Winnie the Pooh, Scooby-Doo, and
Winnie
Beetlejuice
the
would kick off the
Pooh.
weekend, each show a new adventure to dive into. The excitement of discovering what was coming next kept us glued to the screen, while the theme songs became the soundtrack of our childhood.
Conjunction.
Saturdays weren't just about cartoons, they were about the simple joy of the weekend and all the possibilities it brought. And when the cartoons ended, well, it was time to go outside and start our own adventures.
Yeah,
Back
not
in the
today.
early 90s, smoking was everywhere. It's hard to
Oh,
believe,
right,
but you
yeah.
could even light up inside a McDonald's.
Oh, wow,
Remember
yeah.
those little foil ashtrays they had on the tables? It wasn't just fast food joints. People smoked in restaurants, on planes, and even in movie
Yeah.
theaters. The air was thick with it, and nobody
yeah.
thought twice. Whether it was after a meal or with a drink at the bar, smoking was just part of the experience. It's hard to imagine now, but thankfully, bans on smoking in these places came soon after, making the air a little cleaner for everyone.
Yeah,
Disp-
I'm glad I missed that boat because I've got asthma. I would not have survived. Like, you telling me in restaurants you can get like little like ashtrays or like these metal pans where you can put your cigarette stuff in there? Like, I don't smoke either, so you know I don't even know how that stuff works. But actually, it's mad how accessible it was back then, and I'm pretty sure you had like vending machines for it as well, right? You guys don't even know. Like, I think I've seen vending machines for cereal from back in the day when I do these videos. Like, these are different times, man.
Came soon after, making the air a little cleaner for everyone. Disposable cameras were everywhere back in the day. You'd take them to birthdays, weddings, parties, really, any event worth remembering. No one had phones in their pockets, just those little plastic cameras. You'd snap a few photos and hope for the best, then wait days to get them developed. The fun was in the surprise.
What? You guys would wait days for a photo? Huh? I can't believe days is crazy. Surely that's exaggeration, right? He didn't mean it like that. He meant it's like a couple hours. Surely he misspoke. Days. What is this? Like, am I having to order a photo on like delivery or something? You're giving me delivery. It's 5 to 7 business days for a photo that I've taken on a camera that I have. What? Okay, I'm glad I missed that part. Oh, 5 days for a couple days for a photo is crazy to think about, you know. Jeez, you guys, man. You guys let me know what that was like waiting for that, man.
In their pockets, just those little plastic cameras. You'd snap a few photos and hope for the best, then wait days to get them developed.
Days is
The fun was in the
crazy.
surprise. Half the shots were blurry, someone's eyes were closed, but it didn't matter. Even now you can still find them, bringing back that old school charm. Before Google and smartphones, there was Encarta, the encyclopedia on a CD-ROM that felt like the future. You'd pop it into your computer and spend hours exploring, clicking from one topic to the next out of pure curiosity. It wasn't just for school projects.
wow.
Sometimes you'd dive into it just for the fun of learning. There were sound clips, timelines, even short videos, and of course, Mind Maze, the trivia game that made you feel like a genius. Back then, it felt like having the whole world right there on your screen. There was a time when every road trip started with unfolding a big paper map across the kitchen table. You'd trace your route with a finger, maybe even highlight it with a marker. Most of us kept one stuffed in the glove box, just in case. They'd get worn at the creases and sometimes torn, but they never ran out of battery or lost signal. Even today, if you're out in the middle of nowhere with no internet, that old folded-up map might just save the day. It was
Best believe not a single Gen Z is carrying a map in their car ever for whatever reason. Yeah, we'd be screwed if the internet went off. Like, never had to use a map whilst being in a car. I've never seen my parents do it either. I mean, my parents struggle with the GPS. If you're telling me I can't use sat nav, I can't use my Google Maps, whatever it is, and I have to use a map. I mean, I could figure it out. I mean, it's not that difficult. I could probably figure it out. But or maybe it's more difficult than I think. Maybe, I don't know. I've never actually did it. But wow, man, just tracing out journeys of your marker to see where you're gonna go. Wow, man, you guys let me know if you can relate to that, because that's
most convenient, but it did the job, and there was something rewarding about figuring it out as you went.
I can imagine.
In the days before the internet made walkthroughs and cheat codes easy to find, gaming magazines were our go-to guides. Magazines like Electronic Gaming Monthly, GamePro, and Tips and Tricks were practically like treasure maps, leading us to the best tips, cheats, and reviews. Each issue was a mini event. We'd flip through the pages, finding new tricks to try or sneak peeks at upcoming games.
Okay.
It was a world of gaming discovery before the days of online forums or YouTube tutorials. You had to wait, savor it, and sometimes even fight for the best tips.
Wow.
Paying by check might seem old-fashioned now, but back in the day, it was the standard way to handle most transactions. Whether you were paying your rent, your electric bill, or picking up a new appliance, writing a check was just part of life. And let's not forget those carbon copy checkbooks, where you'd always have a record of your payment for later. It may have taken longer to clear than swiping a card, but it felt more personal somehow, like you were really in control of your money. Plus, writing checks meant you had to plan ahead, not just buy whatever on a whim.
Never wrote a check in my life, for the record. Apple Pay.
Buying in the 90s became more...
Like, maybe there'll be why would I need to use a check when I could just... Maybe I ain't got it like that. Because I feel like people that do certain business deals at the higher level of using checks. So, maybe I just haven't got there yet. I think if I was to use a check, the way my mind's thinking, I have to be just that guy. I would do a check. I would write a check just to be like, I got it like that. That's how I think of checks. But back in the day, when writing checks was like every day, like, yeah, that's different. That's
accessible to the average person. With the rise of budget airlines and more affordable fares, flying wasn't just for the wealthy anymore. It felt like a new era of travel, where people from all walks of life could hop on a plane and explore new places. There were still no long security lines or tight regulations, and it felt more relaxed. Traveling in the 90s had a different kind of charm. It wasn't always the most comfortable, but it felt special. PB Crisps were a beloved snack from the 90s, shaped like peanuts and packed with delicious fillings like peanut butter, chocolate, or even peanut butter and jelly. Their crunchy outer shell and smooth, creamy filling created the perfect snack experience. Whether you grabbed them for a quick snack after school or packed them in your lunch, they were a staple for many. Sadly, PB Crisps are no longer around, but for those who remember, they still bring back those tasty memories of the 90s.
I've never
What comes to mind when you think of the 90s? I'd love to hear your memories in the comments.
Video,
and if you enjoyed this little...
No, that was a really great video, guys. That seems to be the end of that. Like, what I love the most about this video was just like how simple times seem to be back then. Like, I feel like compared to the 90s and then you go back further in time, like the world I grew up in is just so much stimulus, so much, online stuff that really dictates a lot of people's perceptions of things. And it's like, you're not going to get that dopamine from like figuring out a difficult task as much, because everything is so accessible now. I mean, you still get it, but like at least on to this level, it's like every day. And I don't know, there's just something in that simplicity that the more I do these videos, it makes me like kind of get a little bit jealous. Like I kind of wish I got to experience at least a little bit of that before the internet really kicked in. But hey, everything happens for a reason, man. I would love to know how you can relate to this. What were your memories from something like this? Can you relate? Is this true? Do you feel like there was parts in here that weren't really accurate for your experience, or do you think it was pretty much spot on? I'd love to know, because literally I learn through you guys. Like, as much as I learn through these videos, like you guys giving me your comments and telling me your stories in the comments below is how I, build up my, curiosity in terms of figuring out what life was really like before, I was born and stuff. But I really enjoyed this, guys. Look, if you enjoyed this video as well, don't forget to smash that like button. If you made it to this point, then of course, comment down 8 green hearts. I know who my ones are who made this point. And yeah, guys, this was a very interesting one. I'll be so crazy what you guys have to say. But I've been your boy JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.